Hello, everyone, and welcome back. This is part 3 of the Top Cut. This is after week 1 of States, before week 2 of States, and we are all here. We have just been talking about the Trachian deck. We've been talking about how we did at States. We've been talking about pretty much everything that there is to talk about in this short week. And now it's on to your guys' viewer questions. Whatever you guys have in mind, go ahead and ask them, and we will cover them. We'll try to cover as many of these questions as we possibly can, like we do every week. So, without further ado, let's get started. Let's see here. Daniel Fanning said, "Hey guys, first off, I wanted to say congrats. Say congrats to the winners from the first week of States. I actually won Colorado States this year. Wow. My question is, how do you guys think the format will change with the release of the next set in May? So congratulations, Daniel. That's actually really cool. None of us were at Colorado, unfortunately, but that's cool.
I think
how will the format change in May?
Recorded stuff from Colorado. We're actually going to get some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah, a lot of people have been helping us with recording and stuff like that. So I'm glad with it. I'm glad that they're helping us out a lot. Yeah, how do you guys think the change is gonna, or the set's gonna change? The format's gonna change. I'm sorry. With the May set.
With the what set?
The May set.
Oh, the May set.
The dark one.
Yeah. It's gonna be nice to have Ultra Ball. That's gonna help out. I think it's gonna be, in terms of the way decks are built, relatively the same, but I think the format's gonna shift. I think people are gonna start shying away from Mewtwo a little bit because Darkrai is so good. Zoroark is so good. The dark Pokemon in general are just so good that you'll see a lot of that, which may cause Terrakion to go even more crazy.
That's what I was thinking.
So who knows actually how this will end up? Maybe dark Pokemon with Mewtwo. Who knows? I don't know. It looks like a good set though.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like that dark trainer, the one that brings energy from the discard.
Mm-hmm.
That trainer's honestly broken. So I do expect for the format to change drastically with that set. But we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see, because I think it's just still a little bit too early because we haven't really seen the set list. But I definitely expect for it to do some pretty drastic stuff to the game. But I think the overall theme of the game is still going to stay the same, which is going to be Pokemon are still going to rule and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
Pokemon
well,
are going to change the format.
You can't introduce a trainer that says, get an energy from your discard pile and attach it to one of your Pokemon, and not have that just break a deck with a whole set of obviously powerful dark Pokemon. I mean, there's gonna be at least one new deck that pops up, maybe a whole bunch.
Yeah. All right. So Daniel Musgrave asks, is Dual Ball the next Pokemon collector? And I want to get into this because I know that there's a huge trend for this. I'm talking about Pokemon collector is at an all-time low for usage. I still played 4 in my deck. I'm still a big advocate of Pokemon collector. I think the card is still amazing. But its utility's definitely gone down. I'll agree with that. In some decks, it's actually might even be better to play the Dual Ball, but I think it's being overused right now. What are you guys' thoughts?
Well, my thought is, yes, Dual Ball as of right now is the new collector. I am a firm believer that almost in every deck, collector is just a dead card. You'd always want that to be a Dual Ball, simply because the collector is just too slow. You can't just go, well, I guess I have the Juniper here or Pont here or whatever, right? And then go, well, I hope I hit basics off this. No, what's going to happen is like, oh, I Ponted. Oh, I hit a Dual Ball. Yeah, I can get my basic now. So I think Dual Ball is just more versatile in today's format, whereas if you're running collector, like, honestly, if you're running collector and they're running Dual Ball, they're probably a favorite just by deck building alone. So.
Okay, Kyle?
I don't know if I'd say Dual Ball's better than Collector. I would definitely rather see a Collector in my opening hand than a Dual Ball. But I think the way the metagame has shifted, decks have become just so quick that you almost can't afford to miss like an energy drop. Like, how many hands have you had where you have a Collector but you don't have an energy? So I think what Dual Ball does is allows you to play one of your other supporters while still being able to get maybe 1 or 2 basics out. I mean, maybe you'll still be able to get like your Dynamo out on the first turn, and then you'll still be able to play your supporter and get an energy into play. So that's kind of what Dual Ball does. Do I think it's better than Collector? No, not really. I mean, Collector is much more reliable. It's a better card, but it's just a matter of whether or not you can afford to play it. And it is one of those cards where if you don't have it in your opening hand, it's a little worse. It's actually a lot worse. So it's kind of a trade-off how you want to build your deck. But, I mean, decks like Durant, obviously, are still going to play that card.
Yeah. I mean, it's good in it's like really good in certain decks, but as a whole, any type of ball is better than Collector right now. Just because the format's just too fast for Collector.
Okay, I can definitely see it. I'm not going to argue against that. Drew, thoughts?
First off, I hate flips. I mean, I was watching the finals of Ohio State, and I saw Dustin Zimmerman. He was just wasting so many resources on dual balls because he kept flipping tails. So, on one hand, Collector is definitely, you're going to get those 3 Pokemon, and sometimes you're just going to whiff on dual ball with the coin flips, and maybe you just lose because of that. So I don't really like that aspect of dual ball. I mean, Dustin was like, he was either 5 out of 6 tails, and he hit the last one, or 7 out of 8 tails, something absurd like that. There's just going to be variance, and you're going to, if you miss the crucial coin flip, you lose. Like, I hate coin flips like that. So I'm kind of a Collector fan still, although I probably play tested the least out of this group. I can kind of see where they're going. I mean, most of the decks are just playing basics anyways, so probably the basics you have out are all you really need anyways. I mean, you're playing like the Selby Mewtwo deck, what is it, play like 8 to 12 basics, whatever, good enough. But yeah, I just hate coin flips. Go Collector.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess that's kind of my theory when I built my deck. It definitely hurt me. I'm not going to say it didn't. There was some situations where I actually skipped on the Collector when getting a Collector would have been a decent spot. Would have put me in a decent spot, but because I didn't have the energy, I didn't have a choice. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that it definitely doesn't hurt you, but there's a positive to it too. It's not like it's all negative. And that's obviously Pooka gear can find it, which is actually a pretty big deal. There's also the fact that you can just actually be secure that you know that you're going to be able to find your Smeargle and your Tornadus that you're going to need, and certain things like that. Sometimes you just need more than one Pokemon. Most of the time you do, to be honest. So, yeah, there's positives and negatives. It's fine. And, yeah, Twitch is down for me right now. But we'll have to just move on, and hopefully people that are missing it will be able to catch it on YouTube. But yeah, so I guess it's still I wouldn't say it's the new Collector. I really don't want to go that far because I still play Collector in that Mewtwo Tornadus deck, and I wouldn't want to blame anybody for playing the dual ball, I guess. But I'm still an advocate of the Collector. It fits my personality, it fits my playing style, and I wouldn't feel comfortable having to go junk arm for dual ball, you know, etc. It really does kind of mess with you a little bit, and it actually no, I don't want to say that. I don't think it makes you more vulnerable to N, but it makes you a little more.
It makes you better against N.
No, I don't think so. Because
let me tell you why. Because you don't have those dual balls in your deck anymore. Like, what are you gonna do? Get N for 1. I hope I don't draw Collector, because I only played 1 this game, but I'm playing like 4 of them. Ugh, Collector. But you play every dual ball you see. It's like dual ball, dual ball, dual ball.
And bait and stuff like that. But like the thing that I'm trying to say
you can do
is
that with dual ball too.
Well, the thing is, your dual balls are going to have a lot more pressure on them because your dual ball on average is going to get you 1 Pokemon. So you have to use more dual balls throughout the game.
Did Twitch go down again?
Yeah,
the stream is fine, but the chat's on maintenance.
Okay.
My Skype is barely working too.
It's fine.
I don't know if you've seen Pram play it, but dual ball averages him about 2.
Yeah, well, I mean, for a normal person, the dual ball will average you 1 Pokemon. So you're putting a lot of stress on your dual balls, is what I'm trying to say. Is unless you naturally draw into these Pokemon, which you will throughout the game, but at the beginning you don't. You are going to have to use that dual ball in case you need to hit your Smeargle. In case you need the Smeargle in that specific situation, you have to hit your dual ball. Puts a lot of pressure on your dual ball, puts a lot of pressure on your junk arm. which is why, in my opinion, there is some negatives to it. But I mean, that's part of the game. That's you have to make the decision when you build.
I think there's just more negatives to collector as of right now than there are negatives for dual ball.
That was a great question by Daniel. I'm glad he asked that because it's I don't think very many people are talking about it, but definitely the dual ball is taking over in popularity at least.
I think this all goes back to just how simplistic decks have become, that you can actually have dual ball be an option. I mean, when you think about even at Nationals or Worlds this past year, you would have been crazy if you said dual ball was the way to go. Like, you needed to collector for 2 Magnemites and a Yanma, or like 2 Cyndaquils and a Vulpix, but now, I mean, say you're playing the Celebi Tornadus Mewtwo deck, and you start with a Celebi, hey, all I need to do is dual ball for 1 attacker, and I'm completely set up. So, it's just a difference in the way decks work now that makes dual ball even viable to begin with. Collector's never going to be bad, but dual ball is definitely an option now, whereas before, I mean, it really wasn't.
Okay. And I'm actually going to skip over to Adam Bigot's question because it fits a lot with this question, which was, you guys aren't choppy for me, first of all, but a question for Pram. Why did you run dual ball in your Zekrom Electric deck over Collector? Is it basically because of what you said, that you need to just be able to keep up with the energy drops?
Yeah, basically what happened was, in our testing, dual ball was just so much better. Like, we had a 10 series game, like in mirror match, between Zekrom Electric, one that ran dual ball and one that didn't run dual ball, one that ran Collector instead. And the Collector version just got blown out of the water. It lost 2-8. So when you see results,
which one? Who was playing which one?
It was just me and Luke switching back and forth.
Oh, all right.
I know you're trying to be like.
Because if Pram was playing the Collector version,
we literally switched. we went like 5 games one way and then we switched.
No. Pram was playing the dual ball one. It makes sense because it's for him. It's like I've watched.
Wait. Are you trying to tell me that Luke doesn't hit double heads as well? Are you trying to tell me that Drew does not hit double heads as well?
Guess I didn't think about this. All right, so for both of you, no wonder. All right, this makes perfect sense then. It's just 2 Pokemon almost every time.
Pram's sitting there in the tank. He's like about to go ball, and he's like, "Man, I really need Smeargle. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this off if I don't top deck a Triple Sported." He's like, "But I really need that Tornadus to be able to attack too. Oh man, which one do I get? Oh, I guess I'll figure it out. Oh, I get both." This happens to him all the time.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, there was one time in Top Cut where I got 4 dual ball heads, and I was just like, I don't even know what to get with the 4th one.
Must be nice.
That's what I was saying. I was watching your games to do commentary, and I'm just like, oh, it'll be interesting to see what he gets with his dual ball. Oh, he got 2 heads. Never mind. This is not a difficult decision at all anymore. And
I mean, like,
he plays another one. I'm like, okay, I'll probably just grab.
Collector. This thing's so bad.
It actually, but
I actually said that.
There's so
I was
many
like,
hands.
well, who needs Collector when you can just dual ball for 4 Pokemon on the first turn?
Yeah, but that's like literally, like, you guys are laughing, but I'm the guy sitting with 42 points.
Oh man, that's too funny.
So, yeah, it's basically because I think Collectors, at least right now, is obsolete. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's definitely obsolete if you
like, you only actually need like 1. You only
I'll say if you can flip, well, it's obsolete.
You only need like 1 heads per dual ball.
You need 1 heads to stay in the game. Yes.
Not really, because like you're drawing base.
Are you trying to tell me that with 0 heads you'll stay in the game?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, you just do dual ball, and then you're like forced to draw cards. And then I mean, like, that happens, but it's like just the same odds of that happening as you getting 2 heads. So most times you just average 1, and then you're just like, good, you're good.
Bottom line is the format's all about speed. He's just adapting to it.
Yeah,
absolutely. Jason Lindsay, which baby do you guys prefer, Tyrog or Cleffa? Tyrog. Tyrog's in great shape right now because of the 30 HP Dynamo, and only because of that.
I'll never argue against Cleffa because it's gonna win you games by playing it, but Tyrog's good too.
Yeah, with the format dominated by Eel, And the only viable, because of speed, the only viable Dynamo is the 30 HP free retreat one. That just makes Tyro go, oh, hello, how you doing? Hey.
All right. So Ryan Reese asks, how does Zekrom Electric handle straight Terrakion? Do you think the deck will be around for long, or was it just a one-time deck?
Kind of got into this already.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's kind of just recap real quick.
Cliff notes, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to use Mewtwo. You want to be able to have the Mewtwo survive as long as possible, meaning probably Eviolite. If you have to rearrange your deck to be able to do that, then I mean that's probably something that you're going to want to consider. It just depends on how popular you expect Raycon to be. But yeah, I mean obviously you can't go the normal route of, hey, I'll attack you with Zekrom. No, it doesn't work
Well,
anymore.
you can if you have enough Zekroms to keep up.
If you really want to beat it,
and plus
play
powers.
Eviolite and Mewtwo and potions,
Rizzion.
and then you'll never lose.
Kyle's actually correct here. If you play one Eviolite, one potion, and you draw them both with a Mewtwo, you're just like, yeah, I can't lose.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, I mean,
I'm glad you figured that out.
He was like
5 seconds you were thinking about it.
90 minus 20
the first 4 seconds I was not
70
thinking about it.
minus 30.
I'm not going to calculate. Okay, I'll just agree with them. True.
I was on my fingers for this.
I was like, man, I wonder what I'm eating for dinner tonight. Oh yeah, sure. All right. All right, Andrew Huss, I like this question. What kind of sleeves do you guys like the most, and what brand color? I'll start Ultra Pro, Pro Matte. I'm a colorful guy. Every once in a while I'll go with like red or something like that, but black in general I think is just the nicest, best color, most opaque. But Ultra Pro, Pro Matte, huge advocate of them. I'll stick with that forever.
Yep. Did you say opaque?
Yeah. Opaque.
Ultra Pro Pro Matte. It's not Opat, it's Pro Matte.
No, it's Ultra Pro, Pro Matte. I said the back was
yeah.
Opaque, I guess.
Ultra Pro Pro Matte, basically any color. At the moment, my favorite's green, but black's kind of like the fallback color I go to.
You gotta go with white, man. All the other colors get like misprinted too much, so you have like 2 different shades of green or red or whatever. So I just go with white.
Even the white ones, I've had
My
problems with. They were different cuts, like there are different lengths of sleeves. So honestly, sleeves have been like the bane of my existence when it comes to playing Pokemon. Like I cannot find good, reliable sleeves for the life of me. No matter what I use. I mean, my fallback is always Ultra Pro, but even those, like the Pro Mats, I like them, but they rip pretty easily. At least for me, they rip a lot. I mean, they get marks on them, the corners bend. I can't find a reliable sleeve that'll still shuffle well throughout tournaments. So if anybody has any ideas, please let me know.
Well, let me
still have not found the answer to this question.
Just go sleeveless, man.
Well, let me explain why the Pro Matte is probably so popular with us. It's non-glare. And when you record games, your cards look pristine under the camera. That's literally my reason for using these sleeves.
Well, here's my reason. All right. This deck is actually courtesy of Chris Silver Truck. This is how these decks shuffle. All right, they're really clunky. This is like the normal.
Are you really doing this?
Dragon Shields.
Yeah, and same thing with these Pokemon things. Here's my setup. All right, the Magic deck box, the Magic Leather deck box.
I have a Pokemon version of that.
Yeah, me too.
Pro Matte. Look at this. The fact that there's no glare, first of all.
We get it. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, cool, man.
These things shuffle amazingly, man. These things are awesome.
Basically, what he's advocating is he likes the grainy feel on the back of the sleeves, and he likes not glare.
Oh yeah, by the way, Pokemon Collector.
Worst card. Worst supporter.
But yeah, so I think all of us are going to be advocates of the Ultra Pro, right?
Yeah.
Or what about you, Drew?
Yeah.
I think he already won, didn't he? Or maybe not.
Yeah. I kind of switch back and forth between sleeves all the time. I just get tired of them, but right now I'm on the Ultra Pros. We'll see what happens, though.
Okay.
All right. So
I've
the next
tried
question.
like every brand of sleeve and I'm still not happy with anything.
Yeah.
I don't like the Dragon Shield. These are like my least favorite.
I've been sticking with Ultrapro for
I hate
years now.
Dragon Shield.
I just like the grainy feel of the card sleeves.
I was
It's not even
using
close.
something else, but I kept getting in trouble for like glare on the top of the card, not the front. So I went to like the matte finish on the back of the Ultra Pros doesn't glare at all. So
Yeah.
I want to get Ultra Pro as a sponsor. Let's make it happen.
If we mention them enough, hey, we can start using our power of Twitter. Just start tweeting Ultrapro saying you guys should sponsor the Top Cut Pokemon.
So they
Yeah,
have
the
a
top
Twitter?
cut.
I don't know if you've ever looked at Ultra Pro's
Their
website.
website is archaic.
they don't really keep up with the times.
Hey, we'll bring them back up to speed. You guys, get on
If
that.
they had a Twitter account, I would be very surprised.
You
You'll
guys,
probably email
to be
them
completely
to
honest.
place
you
an
guys
order.
email Ultrapro, get us sponsors.
All right. Jason Lindsay asks, why does the tornado Pokemon attack with a hurricane?
Why would you ask that question?
This is a question that has plagued me since I have seen tornadoes.
He calls the best sleeping card.
I am completely puzzled. Why does the tornadoes know hurricane? Why doesn't it just know like tornado? Doesn't that make more sense? Can someone
Tornado
explain
Claw.
Tsunami.
this? Anyone got an
Yeah,
answer? Why does it know hurricane? Why can the tornado summon a hurricane?
Because it can.
What is
Next.
Thunderous is Disaster Volt, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That makes sense.
yeah. It's a Volt.
But Hurricane does not. Get your stuff together, man. All right, Confessor
I
Davila.
can hear you
asks, pretty
shuffling
cool.
cards, by the way.
What is the best rogue other than Terrakion to play at States?
Well, I don't think
So if you're gonna be
Terrakion's
playing
rogue
rogue.
anymore.
I'd still consider it rogue. I really do. I think it stops being rogue when it starts being used by more than 5 players at a tournament, which will probably be this coming weekend.
I don't know what would be rogue at this point.
Vileplume decks are just not very good right now. You know what I saw do really well, and this was Joshua Henry. He played at Arizona State. It had everybody baffled. It was the Fire Chandelier deck with an Embor RDL. He brings the Fire Chandelier out, obviously ASAP, and he starts knocking out Dynamos left and right. Like, if you can get that Chandelier out before the Dynamos become electrics, like, the electric deck's just done. But even after that, you still have the RDL with the Embor to back you up. I mean, it was really solid. It did very well. It got him into the top cut, and then I think he lost in the first round. I would advocate that deck to people that are looking to go rogue,
So
because I
wait-
do think Embor is going to be a pretty good rogue deck.
So let me get this straight. If you evolve your electrics before Chandelier comes out, you win.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is, like, you're focusing on getting your Chandelier out like on turn 2. So I mean, it could happen potentially.
Now I'm physically unable to do this, but
That
I'll
sounds
use my
super
finger to help.
clunky. Sounds super clunky.
Yeah. I think your best shot at a rogue deck would be either that Mew Yanmega Terrakion deck, or honestly, we'll go even more old school in terms of this format, which is just Donphan Yanmega. Surprisingly viable. Good matchup against Zekrom Electric. Go figure. Blast from the past. Pull out your Donphans and your Yanmegas.
Donphan. Just play a different combination of basics that no one has thought of yet. Some Kyogres in there, maybe a Venusaur or two.
Some Kyogres.
Might be called 6 corners. I don't know.
You can make it 10 corners now.
Woo.
I don't know if Kyogre would ever be a 6-corner deck.
Maybe, give it enough time.
Maybe Kyurem. If that's what you're thinking of.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one's a little bit better.
Kyogre.
Let's see here.
Kyogre Groudon.
Make a tidal wave.
Let's see. Looking for the next question. Had to update the websites. Zekrom. Okay. Dave Wilson asks, is Zekrom EX worth playing anymore? I haven't really found any use for him lately, and he seems to be a liability against Terrakion as well as a port start. That's a question that's boggling a lot of people. I'm seeing a lot of people say yes, it's worth playing still. Seeing a lot of people say no. I'm saying I still haven't tested enough. So
I
don't know.
will answer this
but
question.
I think it's good. I think it's solid.
I played this many
I knew it.
Zekrom EXs in my Ultra list.
And can you please give the viewers a reason why?
I found it useless in every matchup. It's like cool to have out. You're like, yeah, I got a guy who can do 150, cool, but he doesn't actually bring anything to the table specifically. Thunderous brings your Celebi matchup to like it makes your Celebi matchup so much better, and it also helps in your mirror match too. There's a lot of Thunderous battles that go on in that matchup. And then Zekrom, well, he's Zekrom. I mean, he's a basic that's not an EX who does a lot of damage. Like that's
and
literally yeah.
Most importantly, he's your Durant killer. So
yeah, he kills Durants, and Mewtwo's Mewtwo, and that's all you really need. When you like, I think we played a couple games where the Zekrom EX was in the deck, and we were like, okay, this is coming down, but I wish this was a Mewtwo, or things like that. Or it was like these weird, desperate situations where you're like, I hope he doesn't have an answer to end Zekrom EX because this is my only way out because I don't run Thunderous. How did we get to this situation, kind of thing. So we just ran more Thunderous. And
well, I don't think anybody's advocating playing it over Thunderous. I don't like at least for the
no,
people
but like
who,
at that point, like, what do you cut? What do you cut for the Zekrom EX?
I mean, that's definitely the question that's being asked. I know that some people went down to 3 catchers, me being one of them, to test it. Granted, I've only played 3 games with it, but it was fine. I mean, I definitely used the Zekrom EX in 2 of the matches. It was against Regigigas, so I wanted to have a way to be able to put some good hurting on that thing. Yeah, I mean, the card is fine. I don't necessarily think it's very necessary, like Pram said, and that's ultimately the most important thing, is that it doesn't, like, I mean, unless you're playing against, and this is where Kyle's probably going to chime in, unless you're playing against things like Thunderdome, and you're playing against Magnazones all over the place, that's really where it does shine. So if those decks ever do become more popular, then yeah, of course, it's definitely going to be a very good card. But if it doesn't become popular, then, I mean, there's no point in, I mean, there might not be a point in playing this big liability. That's what it's called. The Shaq's the big Aristotle, Zekrom EX is the big liability. So, yeah, I mean, Terrakion being able to take 2 prizes with 2 energies is kind of scary. So that's really what the main concern is for me. But
yeah,
Kyle?
It's kind of like high risk, moderate reward. Like starting with Zekrom EX against Durant, you actually just lost the game. Like there's 0 hope for you actually winning that game.
Now, to be fair, that's going to happen very rarely.
I mean, it's still going to happen, though. I mean, that's kind of what you have to take in mind. Do you want to risk just absolutely losing a game because you started with a Zekrom EX? And let's be clear, unless you just knock out a lone Durant with that Zekrom EX, you're really not going to win. Like, that's just terrible. Like, how do you have a Pokemon in your deck where you just instantly lost because you started with 1 Pokemon? I can't ever think of that happening ever in Pokemon's history. But besides that, it's actually surprisingly difficult to power up in the correct situations where you want to. I mean, yeah, you just say, oh, I just need 2 electrics on the field and a double colorless, and he's powered up. But that can actually be a little tougher than it looks. Sometimes you just need it like on a certain turn, and you just don't have the double colorless or something, or you only have 1 electric in play. So it's actually been really tough for me to use in the correct situations. But I think just it seems like it should just fit. Like you're already playing lightning, you're already playing double colorless. Does 150 damage, which can knock out a lot of stuff. So it almost seems like, why wouldn't you play 1? But at the same time, I don't know specifically what it does. It's just kind of there, and you say, this should be good, so I'm going to play 1, but, I mean, what does it do? It can kill a Magnezone, maybe, but then it's probably going to die to another Magnezone, and you just lost 2 prizes? I mean, I don't really know. I've been struggling with that question, too.
Yeah, no, you guys are absolutely correct. I am kind of worried about the fact that it's such a bad opener. I tested Gigas a little bit. Gigas is also a really poor opener. I tested Mewtwo, also, I mean, obviously. Mewtwo is also a very poor opener, but I think Zekrom EX is even worse than... maybe not worse than Gigas, but...
Mewtwo's
it's
not
on
that
par with
bad
Gigas.
if they start with Dynamo.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Mewtwo's relatively bad.
Mewtwo seems fine.
Mewtwo's actually not that bad of a starter. Like, there are worse starters.
Colorless.
I think,
Depends
like...
on what you're facing.
I think
mean, if
going
you're facing
second...
Durant, it's not a good starter.
Well, actually, I played against Durant and started with Mewtwo, and won.
Must be nice.
I don't even want to get into this. Let's go to the next question, otherwise we'll get tilted. All right. Dexter Wickham. What do you think about Zeb Strika in Zekrom Electric? Destroys most decks if you get Blitzel Agility Heads turn 1 and Disconnect turn 2. Yeah, I'll agree that a lot of people were testing the Zeb Strika for a while. In my limited testing, I actually tested it. Didn't work. It was just not effective enough, I guess is the best way to do it. Like, dealing 40 damage really sucks. Having only 90 HP really sucks. Dedicating your energies to this thing really sucks. A lot of little negatives to it, and at the end of the day, you're dedicating 6 spots to this thing, so it's just not worth it.
Yeah, basically what I came to the conclusion was it's just a win more card. Like, the games you'll win with it, you would have won anyways without it, and the games you lose with it, you lose because of it in your deck, so you're just like, oh, well, this card's just not that helpful.
Yeah.
Hey, it's really good against Vileplume decks. So if you expect to run into Vileplume, sure. Otherwise, well, if your area is normal, then no.
Sure, if I'm expecting to play a bunch of Ben Potters, I will.
All right. And what about Kleppa and Zekrom Electric, says Dexter Wickham.
I cut mine for a Tyrogue.
Okay.
I'll never be against Buffa. Just being like if you have your dead hand and collector and or dual ball, and you have no supporters, then you're just gonna want to be able to search for something to help you out. So I can never argue against Kleppa, but you can also argue that if you have to eke in nowadays format, you might have lost already. So who knows?
I mean, Kyle played Jetta for like 4 years, so of course he's for Kleppa.
I'm actually like probably. I mean, aside from Kyle, because Kyle is by far the most like conservative deck builder in the world. I'm very conservative. Like I mentioned, I still play the collector. I like to be safe. I like to even if I give myself a little bit of a disadvantage, I like to know that my cards are going to do what they have to do, and I like to know that I'm going to have good starts. But even then, like I tested Kleppa for a little bit in the Zekrom Electric deck, and it just. Yeah, I mean it's a little slow, and there's other options, and ultimately the Tyrogue is just a better option right now. So
I think I play more risk versus reward.
Yeah,
cards.
Pram is by far the riskiest player that we have on the top cut. I'm not really sure about Drew, but Pram definitely loves to gamble a little bit. I mean,
it's not really gambling; it's just like playing the odds.
Yeah, which is fine. Just gambling.
We gotta word it correctly here. Let's. Gambling implies I could like most of the time, or maybe even half the time, not work out.
Yeah. So whatever. It's just everybody's got their own little routine. I mean, I'm sure that there are optimal lists and everything like that, but I'm not gonna feel comfortable playing dual balls, so I'll stick to my collector even if it gives me a little bit of a less of a shot at even if it's a little bit less optimal. But
I think Pram is the riskiest player. Like, he'll go out on a limb and just play crazy things in his deck and just try to win by taking big risks. And I think Drew is like the most aggressive player. He just wants to knock stuff out over and over.
He just wants to say woo every time.
He just wants to leaf wall up.
Woo!
He just wants to leaf wall for 6 prizes every game. I think I'm the most conservative person. I take the least risk, probably. And, Crim, you just try to outsmart people so you can brag that you're smarter than them.
That's true.
I mean, that is kind of
Hit
true.
the nail on the head.
I remember you probably even casted a game where I just went, like, I played a certain series of cards just expecting a bunch of different outcomes. I'm like, okay, based on what I draw, I either do this, or if I draw this, I do that. If I draw that, I do that.
You just like confidently play Juniper. You're like, all right, this will get me the catcher, and I will win. And then you do.
Well, I was drawing like over half my deck.
Must be nice.
My deck was
The next question
my deck
is
was
from
like
a
10
dear
cards.
friend of the Top Cut. So, here we go. Mr. Ben Potter says, will you stop me from playing the Big White Hope again? And I'm sure this is actually
directed towards me.
directed towards my friend Michael Pramawat. Can you please explain what the Big White Hope is, and will you stop him from playing it?
Okay, so the Big White Hope is basically Vileplume with a bunch of EXs like Regigigas, Crim, not Mewtwo because he didn't have any. But that's the Big White Hope, and it's just Vileplume, Regigigas, and Ranunculus, and all those big basic Pokemon. I tried stopping him from playing it. It was actually Luke's fault. Luke Reed's fault that this happened.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
He like fed this idea of, because Ben was probably just going to play Durant because he didn't have Mewtwo's to play, so he was just going to do that, and then Luke talked him into this horrible idea, and Ben affectionately named it the Big White Hope. And as soon as Ben writes down his deck list, Luke just goes, "Let the great experiment begin." And I'm just like,
I
Ben,
can
when
see
you're
exactly how this played out. Ben comes to Mike with this idea, and Pram goes, "Ben, you're stupid. Don't play that." And then Ben looks at it, he's like, "What do you think, Luke?" And Luke's like, "Yeah, you should try that out. That looks good."
That's exactly what happened. And then
Ben goes, "Yeah, you're right. This is good."
And then I had to I walked away because I had
yeah.
to start setting up things for the stream. And during that time, a deck list was filled out, and "Let the Great Experiment Begin" was announced. And it was
the Great Experiment began.
and then
How'd the Great Experiment do?
it went like it lost its first round, and then it won its second, and then it lost its next two, and then he was behind the computer for the rest of the time.
Yes, breathing into the microphone, so
Yeah.
everybody on the stream could hear horrible, horrible breathing noises.
But he does claim to be addicted to the Big White Hope, so maybe it'll make a showing again next week.
For the record, Luke is actually a riskier player than Pram, by far.
For sure.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
I thought
Luke-
I thought Luke plays too conservatively.
Well, every time I play against Luke, he's just like, "I want to get greedy here."
Oh yeah, he does. He does have those streaks where he just like talks himself into a play. Yeah.
I know he played against you in the finals in one of the cities, and he was like, "I could start with Virizion and double draw, but I'm gonna get greedy and just start Terrakion and try to 6-0 you with just the fighting Pokemon."
Well, I mean, like, if you look at it that way, we already knew the matchup was a favorite for me. So.
You don't just start Terrakion unless you just play for Terrakion. There's a set sequence of events with that deck. You start with the Virizion, you start with a Leaf Wall up, and then you retaliate. You don't lead off with the Terrakion and just have no backup plan.
All right. Well, let's just do a few more questions, maybe like 3 or 4 or something like that, and then we'll wrap up the show because we are kind of taking a little bit of time. And Lucas Selig asks opinions on Misi Mew for week 2. Misi Mew is actually basically Mew with a bunch of good targets, and I believe it uses Yanmega as well. The targets are Chandelure and Terrakion. The targets are Chandelure, the Fire Chandelure, so you can start sniping Dynamos. And you also have things like Jump Left for the Mewtwo EX matchup, and Crobat. Crobat's just weird. I'm not a big fan of the Crobat, but whatever. Yeah, do you guys feel like it's actually a pretty good deck, or not necessarily?
I think it just kind of gets destroyed by Tornadus, and if like Zekrom Electric ever sets up, it kind of just doesn't have a response that well. So, because I think a lot of the Zekrom Electric decks weren't running Thundurus back in the ECC, so that's a huge card.
Yeah,
I agree.
Thundurus and Tornadus.
Yeah.
Really, almost any big basic Pokemon gives that deck fits.
Yeah.
Justin Sanchez asked, I'm not sure exactly how much I agree with more than 50% of the world's invites being decided before Nationals, but I don't agree with this idea. How do you guys feel about this? And if you don't agree with what would you do to the system to change it? Maybe make yellow tiebreakers. I see so many people with a bunch of championship points, but a lower yellow than 0-7 poker parents. 0 through 7 poker parents. Okay, here's the thing. There's no perfect system. There's just, I mean, it's impossible. I think that it's a step up, to be honest. I really like that championship points are making people say, hey, look, I want to go to nationals. I like that championship points are saying, telling people, hey, look, man, I don't want to drop from this top cut. I want to get there as deep as possible. I think that's how the game should be played. Even Magic the Gathering did away with yellow, and they have something similar to the championship points as well. So it's a step in the right direction. It's definitely a little bit flawed. I don't like the fact that there's so many points awarded to the cities and all that good stuff, like we've mentioned before, countless times. As long as they keep an open mind and keep trying to make the system better, I think the core for the system is actually a pretty good core, and I can only see it being good for the game.
I agree. I actually don't mind it being decided before nationals. Like nationals, you can just look at it as one big Worlds qualifier tournament. Everyone else has their Worlds invite. Well, for the people who don't, you better do well at nationals. Otherwise, just win more before that.
Yeah, and I mean, nationals alone is we've mentioned
it's a good chunk.
It's a very prestigious tournament. It's a great chunk of your points. I mean, they even raised up the points for it a little bit even. So it's not going to be
really
fully decided. That. You don't understand why they raised up the points? I think they should have raised it even more.
See, the problem is, like, say Pram wins nationals or something.
No chance.
And he's already got 40 whatever points, and now he wins, and now he's got a bunch of points. Like, he's stealing an invite from somebody because he's in that top rating, and it doesn't pass down. So basically, the winner of nationals is taking an invite by winning.
That's happened every year.
Another player.
That's happened every year, though. The winner of nationals is always in the top 40.
Yeah, but like when you raise the championship points for the winner, then it kind of just guarantees it.
Well, I mean, I don't think that it matters. Well, first, not really. I mean, like, what if you have the Tom Dozel just come in?
I mean,
not like.
Me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Justin Sanchez was in the top 40 before winning nationals.
No.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh well. So. Generally, the winner of nationals is in the top 40. And like generally, even like the top 8 for the most part are in top 40.
Yeah, once you win that many games, you're definitely in, no matter what your ELO was.
Yeah.
I mean,
there may be like the one or two offshoots who didn't make top 40, but that's because their rating was super low beforehand.
We still don't know what the long-term plan is with the points, so maybe these carry over. So I don't know how the system works. I don't even know why first place gets championship points.
Probably for I'm just assuming it's for the Player of the Year thing that they're doing.
It's done by play points.
They've already mentioned that it's going to be for play points.
I know, but they can change it.
See. I mean,
hey man, this is like my only chance to get back into the Player of the Year race because I am losing by a ton in play points.
Gotta hit those BRs, man.
Gotta hit those Pokemon leagues is what I gotta do.
Re-releases too.
Yeah.
They all count.
Dang it. I'm
like out of the Player of the Year race if they don't include championship points.
Player of the Year, some poker dad.
I don't know.
The good news is I can at least go to nationals due to my play points, so that's all I care about now. But yeah, play points are not the way that Player of the Year should be awarded, in my opinion. But
we already went through this in way earlier.
That's another
shows.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of disagree with you, Justin. I do think that it's fine that it gets decided before nationals. I don't think all of them are decided before nationals, and that's the cool part. There's going to be a lot of people on the bubble that have to do really well they either have to not bomb nationals or they have to hope that a lot of people bomb nationals.
I think the first 25 seeds in rating will be locked in.
I have no way of knowing, so
I'd say roughly the first 25 seeds would be
Maybe
locked
even
in.
More. I mean,
and then the bottom 15 will be like, oh god, nationals is my tournament. And like
you're frozen on a really funny pose.
You're welcome.
But yeah, so I kind of disagree with Justin. I do like that that these tournaments are worth so much, but I think that they can still mess around with the kinks a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's see. I would have answered Daryl Moreno's question, but I don't think we have enough time to really get into that question. I definitely want to answer that next week on the show, though, which is the thoughts on the entirely newly translated Dragon set. I know we got into it a little bit, but
Let's do it after states.
yeah. Okay, John Viveros asks, how do you feel about Top Cut for states being cut off at top 16, no matter the attendance? With the championship point structure, should there be no limitation depending on what tournament it is? A lot of people have this gripe, but the thing is, like, these tournaments are only one day, and you're already doing 8 rounds of Swiss. I mean, you don't want to put a lot of stress on, first of all, on the player, or first of all, on the judging staff and like the people like looking for this venue, which I mean they have to extend this venue for X amount of time. But I mean you're just asking a lot of people to stay for a long, long time already. And I understand that it's not ideal, but if you're doing 3 weeks of states, you can't do 2 week, you can't do 2-day weekends. So I mean it's kind of, I guess, a necessary evil in my opinion.
Yeah. Go ahead, Drew.
I mean, Ohio had like some absurd amount of masters, like 220, and if they had cut to like a top 32, they would have been playing well past midnight. And having played back when regionals were one day, and I was playing till like 2 a.m., you just need to cut it off at some point. You can't be having, like Crim said, the 2-day states is just unnecessary with the 3 states weekends. So at some point you just have to draw the line, and I think it's fine. I mean, even at Ohio, there's some players with gripes, but you're getting championship points that trickle down. Sorry you didn't have a chance to win, but at some point people got to go on with their lives. I mean, these tournament organizers, they're there for you all day volunteering. Let them go get some sleep, man. And you should go get some sleep, too.
Yeah, I really think it's more of a time constraint issue rather than, like, ideally, everyone wants you guys to play top 32, right? If you have the numbers for it, no one goes, I really don't want to have these players play all the games they can to show who's really the best on top. No one goes that. No one does that. It's really just because a time issue. You can't, first off, some venues may only have it until like midnight, 2 a.m. So they also have to clean up. Don't forget, they have to like clean up. There's trash and all that. So they're staying there a little after the tournament's finished. And kudos to them, but yeah, it sucks that that there's like cutoff at top 16, but it's just one of those things where it has to be somewhere, and top 16 seems appropriate.
I'd rather play more Swiss rounds.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I'm still an advocate for cutting to top 8 and doing mini Swiss rounds. That's my personal favorite, but we'll see what happens later on. All right, now we're going to be getting into a couple of these posts which are sleeve related. I want to mention what people are saying. Dave Wilson says you guys should get paid for plugging the Ultra Pros. I agree. Adam Bigot says KMC sleeves are glary, but they're the best sleeves when you're not recording. So I guess KMC, there's a KMC lover. And
okay.
It's unfortunate because I do seem to be recording.
Yeah, exactly. Daniel Fanning says, Crims, we use the same sleeves in deck box. Just noticed that on stream. Magic deck box for Pokemon all the way. Yeah, this is the Fire deck box, and I use red sleeves. I'm cute and tacky like that, but it's cool. I'm glad that we have the same little setup. That's kind of cool. All right, so we're going into the last couple. Jonathan Crespo says, Smeargle, your opinion on it, and can it work into decks going into these next weeks during states? I'm asking this because I'm working on an Eel deck, and I've been playtesting it consistently. I think it works with the CMT deck, the Celebi Mewtwo Tornadus, because it uses Skyro. I think that, and you already use multiple switches, so I think it's cool because of that, but if you have to use your energy to retreat and stuff like that, it's just not going to work. Agreements?
Yeah.
Miro is high risk, high reward.
Yeah. Sometimes
Big
high
risk.
risk, no reward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. Uh-huh. Yeah, and I don't know. I think Smeargle's very good in the CMT deck, so I don't think that any deck shouldn't use it in that deck. But in the other ones, I'm not very sure it should be played. All right, Andrew Murray says, have any of you tested Gigas EX in CMT? which is Celebi, Mewtwo, Tornadus. Could be a strong attacker in the mirror under certain circumstances. P.S. Pooka, give the blue Japanese Arceus sleeves a try. If you haven't already, they're great. Give them a try. Meanwhile, I'm looking through my CMT deck to find a couple of Mewtwo's, Tornadus, Shaman EX, which underperformed.
So let me ask a question first off. Why did you play Celebi, and was it based off of how many Mewtwo's you owned?
So everybody was making that, like, I think you had the funniest joke of in recent Top Cut history, because everybody was laughing at that joke at States. They were saying it's funny and it's true, but yeah, I do own 2 Mewtwo. I had access to more if I needed more, but I played the deck because honestly, it's the only deck that I really felt comfortable with. I mean, like I said, I've been here in Vegas. Haven't really play tested. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I play tested this maybe like 5 times, and I just didn't feel comfortable with the Zekrom Electric deck that I didn't play test, and I didn't want to go into mirrors not knowing what to do. So, yeah, I just played this deck because I ordered 4 Celebis and 2 Mewtwo's on eBay, and look at this bad boy. Yeah, Regigigas EX. I played it because I didn't want to play Terrakion. I didn't want to mess with my energy counts, and it was fine. It cost me one of my matches, sort of, in a way, but whatever. Not a big fan of it, but it's fine. It does the trick when you don't want to play Terrakion and you want something else.
Don't play Gigas if you don't have Eviolites.
Aha, I agree. And for that reason,
He's going to show us an Eviolite.
I'm not even going to bother looking through it.
You're just be like, for that reason, let me find Eviolite. Yeah, I got it.
plus powers. Ah, there it is. Boom. Eviolite. So yeah, Eviolite with Gigas. And that's one thing that I mentioned to myself. Yeah, I talked to myself. If I was going to cut the Eviolite, I was going to cut the Gigas. If I was going to cut the Gigas, I was going to cut the Eviolite. But I decided not to cut either. So, final question is Jonathan Crespo. To all the Top Cut guys, have you considered making a trip out to one of the state tournaments in the Northeast? New Jersey, New York, etc. Pramawat is the only one that lives anywhere near that area, and he's still hours and hours away.
Delaware on Saturday, so I'll be at Delaware States. But after that, my next states after that is Maryland. So.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, Kyle and Drew are Midwest. I'm West Coast, and Pram is kind of like East Coast, but in the mid portion of it.
Mid-Atlantic.
So, yeah, so it's just, we're only 4 people. We can't be everywhere at once. I am going to be flying somewhere for regionals. I actually have to book my flight like within the next few days because I actually have to figure out where I'm going to fly to within the next few days because time's creeping up on me.
Philly.
Philly is one of my top ones. I think I'm between Philly, Wisconsin, if Kyle will have me, and then NorCal. It's one of those 3. I'll fly to anyone. Kyle, please. I'll be a good roommate, I promise. I don't sleep naked. I don't do any of those things. I'm a very good roommate.
He's lying. Don't believe him.
But yeah,
it's a lie. But it's okay, Crim. If you want to sleep naked.
Either way, it's like a 16-hour drive for me to go anywhere, so I gotta fly somewhere. I'm not a fan of driving extended periods of time anymore. So I don't know yet. I'll figure that part out. I'll talk to these guys. I'll probably be flying out to one of their 2 regionals, or I'll be covering a regionals on my own and somewhere in the West. So that's what remains to be seen. But unfortunately, we are only 4 people, and we don't live in the Northeast, so getting to these things is a little tough. But yeah, that's going to be it for our viewer questions, man. We've covered a bunch, and we still got to prepare for states. By that I mean probably play a little bit of StarCraft before the end of the night, and tomorrow morning I'm going to be waking up at at dawn, 10 a.m., and yeah, driving over to California. Then I'll be playtesting that whole day in California States on Saturday. Beautiful city of Las Vegas, Nevada. For those of you guys who are interested, check that out. Yeah. That's a pretty cool background, right? Yep.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's me. My new city, at least for a little bit. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. As far as my goodbyes are concerned, I will see you guys in California. What's up?
I just want to point out Ryan Webb posted that. He just wants us to mention that anybody planning on going to Maryland states should pre-register at somdpokemon.com. So
Yes, that is true.
that
Please, if you are attending, register. Register ahead of time. But I am familiar with the venue that I believe that they're having it at, and it gets cramped. So if you're serious about going, register.
Awesome.
So sorry, proceed.
Yep. No, I was just saying before I was so rudely interrupted that I will be leaving to California on Friday morning. Saturday, I'll be in California States. For those of you who did not travel to Arizona States and want to say hi, or even if you did travel to Arizona States and you want to say hi again, I'll be there. And hopefully, I do better this time around. I do want to top cut this state because I kind of need to, but we'll have to see what happens. I know Kyle's going to be going to States for the first time this year on Saturday, and he'll talk about more about that. But see you guys next week. Yeah, take it away, guys.
I guess I'll go. Follow me at Michael Prumwatt. Been tweeting more and more, so you guys can enjoy that. Also, it was great meeting some of you guys at Virginia States. If any of you guys are going to Delaware States, please say hi and all that. I'm going to be trying to stream a little bit. I don't know how much we can get going. I don't know if we're going to start it off like we did at Virginia, where I was just kind of doing it for the first time at an event. But things should be improved. I think Kyle is probably going to stream too. We'll set up a separate Twitch page for our second stream, which we will Twitter out later and Facebook out later. So yeah, just follow me at Twitter and make me have more followers than Crim. That's the important part.
No, at Crims23. Follow me. I'm interesting. I'm cool. I'm funny.
You can either follow me or you can unfollow Crim, whichever is your pleasure.
I get an email right now saying somebody has unfollowed. All right, Drew, do you have anything you want to say?
I think my Skype is like dying, so follow me on Twitter and play me in word games. I know a lot of you are. It's fun. Some of you are not very good, and some of you cheat, but it's okay. And I'll see you guys next week.
All right, man. And Kyle, take it away.
Yep. I will be at Wisconsin States this weekend, so if you're going to be there, please say hi. I will be attempting to stream. At the very least, I'll be recording. I saw they do have free Wi-Fi at the hotel that the event's being held at, but we'll see whether or not that holds up. As we saw last week, there's no guarantee that the internet holds up, even though there is internet. So just stay tuned. I will try my best. We'll try to improve a little bit from last week. I know there were some difficulties. We can't always account for everything because there's stuff like glare and lighting that we just can't account for. I mean, and might not be able to stream at the highest quality, but we'll do our best just to get something out there. And wow, what was that? Anyway, yeah, that's going to wrap it up. Thanks everybody for watching. Please follow all of us on Twitter. Our official account is TopCut Pokemon. You have at Drew Holton, at Crims with a Z, 23, at Michael Pram and at Pooka 311. We check Twitter regularly, so if you got anything you want to say, let us know. Also our Facebook page, which is TopCut Pokemon as well. And our YouTube channel, which is also TopCut Pokemon, and also our website, thetopcut.net. And I think that has covered just about everything. So, thanks everybody for watching. Good luck at state championships if you're going to any this weekend. If you're not, watch our stream so you can still catch some Pokemon action. And that's all I got, so let's wrap it up and see you guys next week.
See you guys.
Easy, yes.
See you.